This is Money, Motivation, and Mike, and I am your host, Michael Wainwright. In charge of all the controls is our audio engineer, Jason Ed McMahon Wright. And hello to you, world. This is the show that will change your life. Please always tune in to us at MX3.VIP. Email us with all your questions, comments, concerns, info@mx3.vip. And of course, visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@MX3 podcast. And when you're on YouTube, always remember to give us likes and subscribe. And we certainly appreciate that for you and from you and moving right on down the road with our continued growth of our show as we come on to episode number 45. And Jason just provided me with some numbers here. And in the month of April of 2023, we've had 16,406 downloads with roughly a week to go. So that's averaging right at 5,470 viewings per episode. Very good for where we are today while we continue to pursue what we want tomorrow, just as it is in life. Content with where I am today after I go after what I really want tomorrow. And today's topic is commitment. I came up with this topic from Brother Chuck McQueen, Southside Baptist Church, last Sunday in service. He was talking about commitment in the Bible, etc. And as I was sitting there and I was listening, and obviously a lot of that commitment conversation and that sermon was about commitment to Jesus Christ our Lord. But the fact that we have so much lack of commitment in this day and age with just our general everyday lives, I decided that our next show needed to be about commitment. And I'm very intrigued with some of the things that I have been able to discover and research on commitment, and they're the lack of. Now, I'm going to start out with this one quote that will start us off with our show today that I think is very important. It's very meaningful, if you will. And it is, quote, "We think sometimes that poverty is only being hungry, naked, and homeless. The poverty of being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for is the greatest poverty." Quote, end quote. Mother Teresa said that, and what she was talking about is how we are not committed to each other. Obviously, committed was a very important word to her. And she goes on and continues to talk about love, and love is necessary for a healthy life. We think to live a healthy life just like we need food and water. She practices daily by loving everyone around her. And what a great thing that we could do as well is to love all those around us and being committed to making that person feel better, to making them more wanted, to making them more loved, to make them feel more cared for. That you actually mean something to them and they actually mean something to you at the end of the day. That you don't just walk by them and stick your nose in the air like they didn't exist. You know, it's one of the biggest reasons that a lot of people are not involved in other things, such as civic organizations or a club, let alone the church house, because when they go there, they feel unwanted. And it's just a lack of our commitment to growing and bettering ourselves to make other people feel wanted. And I believe that's exactly what Mother Teresa's talking about. It's not about the food and the clothing and the fact that you have a shelter over your house. It's about being rejected and not feeling wanted and not feeling loved and not feeling cared for. So I saw this comment. I saw this quote from Mother Teresa. I thought it was great, and it fit right in with what we're doing today. And commitment, major word. And a lot of people are very scared of that word because when you are committed, whether it's a relationship or committed to a ball team, committed to your spouse, committed to your divorce, committed to your children, all these things, that takes responsibility and a lot of growth. And when you're committed, people are relying on you. And those are very strong words that a whole lot of people don't want to deal with. I would rather, let's say, stay single so I don't have to be committed to another person, man or woman. So commitment in the dictionary. Commitment is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. Also says an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. I mean, you can't do exactly what you want to do. You have to be committed to the cause that's in front of you. Commitment, an act of committing, an agreement or pledge to do something in the future, something that I pledged I would do. All good, obviously. Those comments, those definitions coming from our old buddies at Websters.com. Now, when you get into commitment, there are different levels of commitment, and I have been able to find 5 levels of commitment and how those all work into your life. And when you are committed, the first level of commitment is the self-awareness. You become aware of a new idea or a new skill that you want to develop, and you're aware of that. And there's lots of things. Maybe you're committed to not smoking cigarettes anymore because you feel that it's bad for your health. The first sign of self-awareness is figuring out that maybe it is bad for my health. Maybe you're committed to not driving 85, 90 miles an hour down the road every day. And obviously that's something that I hope the officers, this great, lovely land is not listening, but that is something that I struggle with on a regular basis, is going over the speed limit. And maybe the fact that I know that I do this and my self-awareness first, then I can do a better job of being a little bit more safe on the highway. So that's what self-awareness is. And the second level is a willing to change. I know what I'm doing wrong because I have self-awareness. And now here comes level 2 and my willingness to change. And this is where most people get stuck. They're not willing to change. They know. Now, see, when you're not willing to change, are you stubborn or you just won't? Don't or won't. And unfortunately, we have to get over ourselves, the topic we talked about a couple of weeks ago, but our willing to change is where commitment really, really comes into play. Because see, when you commit to something, it probably means you were not committed to it before. You were not committed to it yesterday, but you are today. And you have a self-awareness and you're willing to do that. And now you're ready to go. And when you're able to say that I am willing to change, the third level comes into an intense focus. An intense focus on the purpose or the principle that I am going after and what it is that I'm going to do. Once again, I am committed to coaching the ball team that we discussed here in a previous episode as well. I am committed to running the marathon and becoming a better person. I am committed to becoming a better coworker by not calling in sick when really I'm not sick, by working extra hours to bring home some money so that my family can go on a better vacation this year. What is your commitment? And when you have that commitment and you're willing to change, you can bring in the intense focus that I am zoned in on exactly what it is that I'm trying to do. And then fourthly is when you have all these things down, there is your commitment. And so the fourth level of the 5 levels of commitment is being committed. And that is commitment. Now, once you have all this in place and that you are committed, what does it do for you personally? It builds your character. And that is the 5 levels of commitment. And all of them are obviously very, very important. And if you can build your character along the way and have some self-growth, think about where you're going to be on the other end of this commitment. And maybe the commitment is to lose 5 pounds and you get that accomplished. Look how it built your character because you were committed, you were focused, you had a willing to change, you were self-aware of the fact that you did need to lose a few pounds, and here we are. A great day to start a commitment if you don't already have one. Most importantly, be committed to yourself. Now, what are the keys to commitment? We talked about the levels. What are the keys? And in order to be fully committed to something, you will need to be clear and have a personally compelling reason why to do such. And going back to the weight loss, why do I want to lose weight? Well, the compelling reason is it's better health. Why do I want to stop drinking or smoking or speeding down the highway? Because it is better health for you and also the people around you as well. Why do I want to go out and be able to make another dollar? Because it makes a better life of living for your children and your spouse. There is the compelling reason. So without a strong desire, You will struggle when implementing with whenever difficulty comes your way. Whenever the road gets rough, that's when it's going to get difficult for you. With that compelling desire, however, insurmountable obstacles are seen as challenges that you will meet and overcome when you have a clear, personal, compelling reason to be committed to something. So that's the key to commitment, is you have to be committed and knowing what the end goal is. Another topic we talk about all the time is goal setting. And the people who are scared to set goals are the people who don't want to accomplish goals, because then they have to be committed to those goals. Isn't it amazing how all these things that we talk about on Money, Motivation, and Mike all kind of come together and they feed off one another? Well, it's life, and this is not all breaking news. Everybody has heard about these things. A whole lot of us know about these things, but hardly any of us implement these things. Because you know why? We're not committed. So does commitment mean responsibility? Absolutely. You know good and well it does. It's a power. It's the powerful thing of making a commitment, because commitment is powerful. It makes the difference between failure and success at work, in school, at the home, in your business, etc., on the ball field. It affects how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about our relationships with others. Commitment, it's powerful. When we fail on our commitments, our integrity, our self-esteem are diminished, and others learn we cannot be trusted. That's why when you say something, I go back to the old saying that your actions are louder than your words, and your word is all you have in this life. And what you say is what you should do. And it goes back to some of the lovely songs that me and my buddies listen to all the time, and is friends are friends forever, and what you said is what you did. And that is a thing of the past. And you have to be committed, and commitment is powerful. And when people see how committed you are, it allows you to have the power to then influence them, not in a negative way, and not overbearing, and not in a dictatorship type way, but they see your commitment, and then you have the power to influence them to be committed. And your relationship with them obviously will grow, and that's what the power of commitment does. So moving right along on the subject here and thinking about commitment, freedom is not the absence of commitment, but the ability to choose and commit yourself to what is best for you, what is best for me. Because that's where it all starts. I can't be committed to a cause that's going to be better for you. It can be better for us, but I got to be committed so that's better for me. And maybe my enjoyment of seeing what it does for you is the commitment. But if you don't have it in your heart and your desire, the heart and desire and soul, and a burning desire to succeed, the commitment will mean nothing. And you will not have strength of commitment. The power of making a commitment will not be there. So freedom is not the absence of commitment, but the ability to choose. And you get to choose what you're committed to. And hopefully most of those decisions you are committed to are for a good cause. We all make mistakes. We all make errors, and we understand that. But committed people have priorities, and they stick to those priorities. And those priorities are what makes their persona and their personality and their integrity and the character that we already touched about with the 5 levels. They develop a routine that allows them to slowly and steadily work towards their goals. Oh my goodness, goals, right there in the commitment factor. They are loyal to their families, their friends, their team, their sport, and themselves, because they are determined to succeed. And how they succeed is they're committed to their cause. They are determined by being committed. What a phenomenal word, commitment. And like I say, brought to my attention here just last Sunday, phenomenal word. It's a word that a whole lot of us don't care to talk about because we don't want to be committed. We want to just float in the middle. Stay on the line. Don't go left or right. Don't go up or down. Stay in the middle. Stay neutral. I think sometimes, Jason, they refer to that as Switzerland. Maybe so, maybe not. You don't be Switzerland. You don't be you don't ride the fence. Figure it out. The worst thing about making the worse or of, is that even a word? Something worse than being wrong is not making a decision. How about that? English was not my forte. So sometimes I struggle with this stuff. It's amazing that I have a show that I get to talk about. Oh, Money, Motivation, and Mike has got my name in it, so I get to do it. That's the reason, even though sometimes I struggle. Okay, what does commitment do? It grows when people grow. And talking about the organizations, okay, I'm committed. Let's work together. That's how you build strong commitment. You want to feel successful at what you do. And it is fun to do something with someone else than to accomplish by yourself. Because at the top of the heap, the top of the mountain's a lonely place. So let's make some decisions together and let's commit as a team. Let's commit as a couple. Let's commit as a group of what we're going to do. We're going to go out and clean up the highway tomorrow afternoon. What is the commitment? And work through your conflicts, because when you're putting a commitment together, not everybody's going to agree on what the end goal, the end purpose of the commitment is. And we got to work through our conflicts to make sure that we're all on the same page when we take that first step and we go through the green flag. And support one another's leadership. You lead here, I'll lead here. Find out what the assets that a person has and what their liabilities are, because everybody has them. And let's all focus on the assets and the support that a person can bring to the leadership of the group. Maybe your spouse is good at doing this, and maybe you are good at doing that. And let's focus more on those things with our companions, our team members, etc., than all their negatives that may be glowing as well. Because if you can focus on your assets, your liabilities will float away. So let's have fun and play together and overcome the obstacles that come along with being committed to one another. Because there are obstacles in this world today. There are obstacles every day, Monday through Friday and twice on the weekends. So let's hold each other to higher priorities and higher principles so that we all can grow and be committed together. Commitment. Big word, large word, several letters. 10 letters in that word commitment, Jason. And isn't it always amazing that the more letters, the word, the bigger the meaning, except for two words, yes and no. And those are the two most powerful ones. Other than that, it's kind of like medicine. The longer the word and you can't pronounce it, it's got to be some potent good stuff. So I'm going to leave you with this. And this is a huge commitment quote. Quote, "The only way that we can live is if we grow. The only way we can grow is if we change. The only way we can change is if we learn. The only way we can learn is if we are exposed. And the only way that we are exposed if we throw ourselves out into the open and we commit." That is by Mr. C. Joy Bell, unquote. Another powerful, astonishing quote from an individual that obviously sees what commitment is, that obviously sees how powerful it can be, and obviously sees it's something that should be in everyone's life. Some have more, some have less. Let's try all to be the people who have a little bit more, because it's just like everything else. And it's the 80-20 rule. Now, you think about this as we end this episode of Money, Motivation, and Mike. Do you believe that 80% of the people in this world are committed, or do you believe that 20% of the people in this world are committed? Because it is an 80-20 rule. And now, out there in this world today, and you look at what's going on, I would say probably we're more on... When I first thought of this question and I thought about the answer, I would say we're more on the 20 percentile of being committed to something. But then I thought about it a little bit more with this wonderful philosophical mind that I've been given. And then I thought about 80% of us are committed to negativity. 80% of us are committed to finding something wrong. 80% of us are committed to making sure that we have more than our next door neighbor. 80% of us are committed to things that we should not be committed to. So see, You can be committed to in a wrong way. And I really do believe those philosophies. And remember, these are my opinions and only my opinions and the opinions of this show. But we struggle with commitment. We need to get better with commitment. And the first thing we have to do is become self-aware, like was one of the first things that we talked about on this episode. So I hope your commitment continues to grow. I hope it starts growing if it's not growing. And we would always, always love for you to contact us, info@mx3.vip. Give us your comments, questions. What is your commitment? What are you going to be committed to in the second quarter of this wonderful year? What are you going to be committed to for the rest of the year? Go in and make a commitment. Write it down and put it on paper. Prick your finger and put blood on it. Let's get real serious about these commitments, whatever it is. Something very small and very something simple. And you know that's how achievement and personal growth starts, is by accomplishing a goal. So don't go out here and set something that you can accomplish in 25 minutes, but go out here and set something that you can. And then as soon as you do, set another goal that I can be committed to and go out and accomplish as well. Always find us, youtube.com/@MX3 podcast. Please give us likes and subscriptions. MX3.VIP as always. Always on all of the directories that come along with podcasts as well. For everyone who's been a part of this one, and for everyone who has not yet been a part of this one, that someone will be listening to us in the near future. For Money, Motivation, and Mike, continue to live your life the right way.